Oh, g'day everyone, thanks for stopping by. Today's the big one, and this is probably going to take a couple of videos, so if this ends up being a series, I'll put it down in the description, something like that. Now this is one that I've been looking forward to for a long time, but realistically one I've been dreading for quite a while as well, because I'm not really sure how to tackle it. I've got a bit of an idea in my head, but I'm not real sure how it's going to work out. I've been out and I've bought just a heap of gear. So I've gone out and I've bought 10 meters of hose, so I can make up some hose line. More hose connections, and you can poke a stick at, but I think I'm still going to need more. We'll talk about those later on, because I was heading in the wrong direction, but the guy at the shop saved me, but also cost me a fortune. Now, unrelated to this video, but we're gonna need to get around to getting that switch panel done that Colin sent me out. I've now got my Cat 6 cables, are going to be the extension for the mic, so we'll get around to that at some point. Some lug terminals from JCar. So what we're going to do is we're going to run a whole new power cable from the front to back. I think we might actually do two, because I picked up all those other cables. SO239 plugs, but unrelated. A 70 amp relay that's going to be used in the switching of the compressor. A whole heap of shrink wrap, because I've lost my shrink wrap bag and don't know where I put it, and this is going to come in handy for this project as well. And we're going to shrink wrap the shit out of everything. And not necessarily the worst place I can source cable, but I went down to Super Cheap and purchased a whole heap of it. These are Nava brand. Realistically, it's cheaper to get it off eBay, but I wanted it and I wanted to get kicked off. So I've grabbed some, was it 4mm, rated at 15 amp. Now, as part of this project, we're going to get over the back, and we're also going to get stuck into that switch panel that I've got in the driver's side rear there. Lots of people have been asking me about that. They've been asking me about how to remove that panel, so we'll get into that. This will be part of this series. Might be a separate video on its own as part of the series, because people may just want to watch that. We're going to run some Anderson plugs off that. We're going to reroute stuff to the fridge. We're going to literally take the back out of the car. And I've got some stuff that they claim is 50 amp rated. And then we've got this other heavy duty stuff that we're going to run from the front to the back of the car. I think we're going to go underneath. And she's real heavy. Around about 40 meters of that stuff. Picked it up cheap off Facebook. So it's nice and solid. It's not real flexible, so that might pose us some problems. So this job is big, and this is why I've been sort of putting it off for so long. There's going to be so many aspects to it. Just to show you how the compressor works at the moment and the setup that I'm working with, basically what I've done is got it on a remote control. Oh. Get down. Get down. Boy. Now, when you're airing up your tyres with these type compressors, you can push the little button on the back of the air hose, and that'll give you an idea of what your pressures are. But to get an accurate reading, what you need to do is turn off the compressor. Unfortunately, the switch is actually on the compressor, so if you've got this at the back of the vehicle, or at the front of the vehicle or something, and you're airing up the different end, you need to run back, switch it off, etc. What I've actually done is built this little box, which has a little remote control and receiver. The receiver is built into the box. We are going to build another one of these as part of this project, or build it outside of the box, so I'll show you how these actually go together. What that actually allows me to do, it's got two Anderson plugs on it, an in and an out. So what I can do is plug this in line with any Anderson plug, what we've got on the back of the vehicle, plug whatever I want the load on the other end. In this instance it works for the compressor, so rather than having to run to the back of the car to turn off the compressor, what I can do is just hit the button. We can turn it off remotely, and that becomes super handy. Again, this is just a handy little project, something that you can make, and that'll come in handy for a whole bunch of different stuff. It's actually got 4 little relays in it, which was a bit of a waste for this project, but I had it on hand. So rather than using the 4-channel one that we've got there and stripping down that box, what I've actually done is just gone out and bought a single channel one. Again, link down in the description. So what these have is just a little relay inside the box, and now these are rated at 10 amps. Now you're thinking, well, 10 amps, I can't use that to trigger the compressor. The compressor needs 40 amps. So that's where our 70 amp relay comes in handy. So for this to operate, for the compressor to operate, we're going to need to have the switch on. So we're going to run power to the switch. Now this is in relation to the relay itself. This is for the switching of the relay. This is not the power that's actually going to drive the compressor. That's going to be on the other circuit of the relay. That's going to be on the switching side of the relay. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a switch on the inside that we'll need to flick on. That'll energize this little relay, and then what we're going to do is be able to hit the remote, activate this relay, which will then switch this relay, which will turn on the compressor. Hopefully that makes some sort of sense to you. So because we can't put 40 amps through this, which would be really nice if there was such a thing, remote relay, this is going to be mounted inside the vehicle, might even be behind that panel there somewhere. Realistically probably somewhere I can access it in case it shits itself. It is a Chinese sort of product. I am really looking at this internal panel just here. I really like the idea of this. It's internal, which means it's going to be better for the compressor. The wiring as far as powering it, so the heavier gauge cable means it's going to need to come through the cab, which means we need to route it from front to back. So that adds an additional challenge there. I've heard of people putting one of those double thumpers, twin thumpers or something that you get from King's, so it certainly should fit. This is about the same size. And I have heard one fella, and I can't remember their name, it was on the Facebook page, there was a discussion about it, basically said what he does when he runs his compressor, he just takes this panel out here. Right. So FYI, there was a screw holding that back corner in. I didn't realise there was. It looks like there should be screws in all 4 of those. Apparently what he does when he's using his is he just reaches in and pulls out this section here, and that just gives us a bit of breathing space. I think I can come up with something a little bit better than that. I've got some little 2-inch fans that have come out of a server, and what we might do is connect that up, and we'll have that. We'll put a couple of those in here, and that'll provide airflow for the compressor itself. It means that we need to pull this panel off and that panel off. So it doesn't matter which way we go, we're going to have to pull panels. Obviously we've got that Matson installed there, so we're going to need to do something with that there as well. For removing these inside panels, what we need to do is first pull this rubber off. Let's grab that and just pull basically, and it'll just peel off. That basically just press fits onto this seam here, but what you need to do, you need to be able to get in behind these panels to pop them out, so by removing that you can just get access to the back of those panels there. Pull as much of that off as you need just to get it out of your way. It reseats pretty easy, and it does have like a bit of gluey sort of stuff on the back of it, so don't worry about that. So for me, I'm going to need to undo this Matson. Literally what I'm going to do is just going to go around this panel and pop a few of these plugs out. So there's one there, we are missing that one. There. I should have done this before I actually unscrewed the Matson, but we need to take out the little load hook down here, lift up that little cap that's in the middle there, and you will see there's actually a, there we go, you'll see there's actually a screw under there. So undo that. This is the same on both sides, and once you've got that out, that whole little unit will come out on its own. So do that, just push that cap down, that'll keep that bolt in place, and then lift that piece of trim out, take those somewhere, put them safe. And now we're just going to continue around, just going popping these clips. Just take your time here because you can break these pretty easy. Now if anybody knows where you can actually source clips for Pajeros, I'm really interested. What we need to do is we need to lift this top section away, the lighter panel. We need to pull that away from the bottom panel. On the back of the dark panel there are some screws that we need to get access there to as well. Now while you're here at the back, to get these 2 side panels out, you need to take this strip off as well. And to do that, what you do is just lift up the back, and then just lift this one straight up. Just pull up and it will come out. Mine was missing some plugs and stuff. If yours doesn't come out, just lean inside and you may find you've got some little plugs in these holding it in. So you'll just need to pop those little plastic clips, pop those, and then just lift it straight up. And as you can see in the corner, these side panels go down and they go under that panel there as well. Now what you'll find just in here, I don't have the screw in that one, but you'll see on this side there is a screw just here as well, so you'll need to take those screws out to remove that panel. There's going to be a bunch of screws in these bottom panels, but we'll get to those as we go. Now because we need access to get under the carpet and lever the carpet up so we can get to some of those screws on that side panel, this box is going to have to come out. I've been trying to avoid it, but I can't. Pretty much got everything. I've got everything out of there. I've got the fridge out, got all the recovery gear out. We've got that box empty other than the table. Now I just want to show you why I went with the connected as far as constructing this box for the bed camper build over the old timber box. Now the old timber box I used to have to drag out. What are you doing? What are you talking? Talk to the camera. You're talking to the camera. Say hello. Say hello. Oh, say hello. Say hello. Say hello. What? What's your problem? What's your problem? What is it? Nothing there for you. No, there is nothing. No, there is nothing there for you. Oh, you can smell sticks in there, can't you? Okay, I know what's going on. I've got some sticks that he gets, like chewable stuff, and there's obviously some in there. And you can smell them. Okay, now I can see them, but he can smell them. They're in that back corner. You can smell them, can't you? You can smell them. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. You got one? Alright, piss off. There you go. I didn't even know they were there. So anyway, so we're going to drag this box out. I want to show you why I went to the connect it over the timber one. The timber one is have to drag out, put on a trolley and carry it, move it away. But with this one, even though that I've still got the table inside it, I can actually pick up and carry around. But it's still solid enough to sleep on. I really can't tell you how much of a weight saving there is in going with the connect it. Now once I've actually got probably this project done, I might get the filter done, and then I'll go and do a walk around. I'll set it up in full camping mode. I'll put the whole bed set in. Hopefully the Corona thing will be done by then. And look, I'll just do a full walk around. I'll show you all the mods I've done on the Pajero from top to bottom, and you can ask all the questions you want. For most of the mods I've done on the Pajero, I've got videos on. If I've got a video for the mods as I go through them or as I touch on something in the video, look up in that corner and you'll actually see the link to the video. Anyway, so that's how easy that is to come out. Obviously there's the weight saving in the back of the car there as well. Okay, back to getting this panel out. To open up your door as well, because you're going to need to pull this panel from this side as well. This panel is actually covered up by the footstep here as well inside the door. So for those footsteps, literally just grab them and pull up. There are a number of clips in the back, so just be aware that some of them are going to come out as you pull it out. Now how this footwell for that rear door works is obviously it's got these little pop tabs, but you've also got this little tab that hooks under that back panel. So what you want to kind of do is to kind of pop it from the front, lift it from the front, and then pivot it down out from under that. You know, realistically you can just yank on it and it will come out, but just be careful because this little tab, the panel, basically the rear panel that we're trying to pull out, slots down in there like that. So it's a bit of a pain in the freckle to refit that one as well. So what we're doing here is I'm just going to go along and just pull back this carpet, just pull it out from under the actual panel itself. And I haven't had this side off, and there are going to be a couple of screws along here that we need to just take out. Open this door or keep that open, whatever the case may be. And I'm just literally pulling on this to unhook it from the door. So what I'm going to do now is just go around and just pop off the rest of this top panel. There we go. So you can see once you pull that panel off, it pretty much comes away. Then you've still got the seat belts on. Now I have removed this back one because we use that for the earth, for the Matson. So what I'm actually going to do is push that through, and I'm actually going to hide that in the back. I'm going to leave the front one connected. I'm not going to worry about it. And just be careful when you're pulling this off, because there are clips that need to hook in. Drop this down and out of the way. Again, you can remove the bolts on the floors if that's going to make it easier to take those seat belts off. But 3 screws that we need to get to here. We can literally just start pulling this panel away. Again, if that door would stay open, you can see that panel is just gonna lift out like that. So just looking at a space perspective, I really don't know if I've got room for this, you know. So there we go. So that's roughly where it's gonna fit, or try to fit. This is our space here that we've got to work with. This is our compressor. Now we can take that base off, which will give us a little bit, which will give us probably another 10 to 15 mil, I suppose, clearance, which might work. I'm just worried about these bolts. I don't know what these bolts are for. I'm very much inclined just to shear them off, you know. I can't seem to get that to fit, but what I can do is this section here. This is just like the, I don't know, spares area or whatever. There are a couple of screws in the back of this. We're going to take these screws out, or the one screw that we've got. Why they put screws in it, and then plastic welded anyway, I don't understand, but we're going to pop those. I'm going to do this because I really like this space. Very, very handy. There we go. See whether it's giving us any clearance. So we're doing a couple of things to try and give ourselves a little bit of clearance. Taking the base plate off of the compressor itself, so that's giving us a little bit of clearance. Two, we're going to use the old Tool Pro to just take off those bolts, and just, you know, that's going to give us back. They're almost, I don't know, 1.5 inches long, so we'll get rid of those, and then I think this thing's going to fit. Whew, okay, so hopefully that'll work. That is much, much better. And you know what? I think that might even bloody work. Okay, so that's her in place. Now we haven't screwed this in or anything. It's just getting this fitted with the panel there to make sure that it's actually going to fit. We've got plenty of clearance here at the back, which is obviously the hot end. Nothing's going to be touching that. There is a small amount of clearance between the cylinder and the actual plastic, so that's okay. We do have that vent here at the back, so that's an air vent. And obviously this opens up into the outside there via that subwoofer panel, and there's holes in that panel as well, which will allow for heat. Obviously lost the use of this little pocket here, but what I can do is still put the cover on here and lock that, and that will cover that up. We'll probably still have the use of our cup holders here, and so we might actually mount a couple of little fans in the bottom there. Anyway, we'll figure this out, worry about the fans later. What we need to do is get this mounted and in position, and then we'll go from there. Now, when you tackle this, if you take the base plate off yours as well, like this one just here, grab your bolts, because ultimately they've got some rubbers on them, and I'm going to use those rubbers to put between this and the bottom of the floor, obviously, and we're going to try and isolate that to avoid getting any vibrations. Now, I am just going to screw this straight down into the deck using self tappers. I'm not going to drill through because I don't think I've got access. The exhaust and everything runs over there, so I don't think there's any point in me trying to get access under that. So I'm going to use some short self tappers, long enough just to go through the rubbers to provide us that vibration insulation, and then tap into that metal there as well, and that's where she's going to live. Alright, so this is definitely turning into a multi-day project, but there you can say, so we've got our rubber feet underneath, and we've got the washer, and then obviously the screw, and in between that's another washer, another rubber washer as well. But that is where she's going to sit. I'm pretty happy with that. It's nice and solid. Obviously you can see the rubber feet are going to move there. We've got clearance on that end, so it's not going to make contact. It's not making contact with the back section there as well, so it is in clear space, which is good. Thinking about the air hose, where I want to go with the air hose. So I think I might go with that, just push it straight on. I know that's not the typical press fit barb that you have, but it seems to be making a reasonable connection. Throw a hose clamp on it, and we'll just see what happens, I suppose. We're going to drill a hole that's big enough for that to fit through. That will go through. We'll put some tape on it, obviously, and then this piece is just going to screw onto the top, and then that's going to be our connection just in the back. I'm still going to need a length of lead long enough to reach the front tyres, which is no biggie really, because that same length of lead is also going to reach back to the caravan, so I can do the caravan tyres as well. What I could do is have it come out a little bit higher. That's going to give me access when I've got the bed in as well. It's not a bad idea. I can put the 90 degree and come up, and that's going to make it easier for me to get that hose on. I can fit this panel and then get this panel on. More flimsy, this panel, I don't really like that, but I think that's going to work. We've got a plan, might be the wrong one, but we're giving it a go. So when I'm connecting stuff up to this, I'm not putting all that pressure on that plastic, because that's going to sit out proud, obviously, by that length. And I don't want to be putting that sort of pressure on that plastic, so I need to come up with some sort of way to make some sort of washer. Now, unfortunately, it's still going to provide some sort of support, but not quite as big as I want. So then I went and thought, 20-cent piece, a little bit bigger, a little bit thicker, we could drill a hole through that. And I thought, well, what's bigger than a 20-cent piece? 50-cent piece. So what I might do is just invest. And I know you're not meant to do this, but we'll drill a hole through that 50. I think that's going to become our washer. Right, so we're through there. 49 cents, maybe 48. And that will do. It's not exactly straight, it's not pretty, but it's hot as buggery. So anyway, there we go. So obviously our 50 cents will go on there, a little bit at the back of that panel, and then this will just screw on the front. It wouldn't hurt me to do 2 of those 50-cent pieces, but I think there's enough on this to be able to just hold that in place. Okay, and that's our fitting fitted. Hose is just going to go up and press fit onto that. And let's stick another hose clamp on it, tighten her up, we're good to go. So that's basically the mounting done. We just need to come up with some wiring for it, which means we've got to pull that other side panel off. And I want to run another feed wire to it from the front, so it's got its own power source from the main battery. This is starting to look like at least a 2-day job. At this point, I think this is going to do us for today. Just going to leave it in the shit fight that is.